Hola, mi amigos. Yo soy St.Christopher. This is The Woodsman, and this is The Writer's Block, a book review show where I tell you if a book is good enough that I would recommend it to a friend, or so bad that I would chop it in half with an axe. Today on The Writer's Block, A Million Little Pieces by James Frey. So this book is a book that is soaked in controversy. It was a memoir published a few years ago by a man named James Frey, and I think he warrants an introduction. He started out in Hollywood, making a movie nobody's ever heard of with that guy who played Ross in Friends. Then he made 2 more scripts that nobody has ever heard of. He then transitions into writing this book, A Million Little Pieces. It is a memoir about his real-life experiences living inside of a rehabilitation center. The book starts off, a character named something else. I don't remember the name. A character named something else. He's woken up on a plane. Some of his teeth are broken, vomited over himself. And he's like, "Can I get a drink?" And they're like, "Sir, please, you can't." So he lands. He meets up with his parents, and they take him to a very swanky, rich, well-known rehabilitation center. That is where the book takes place. It is his real-life telling of his experience going through rehabilitation. He was on Oprah. Even though the interview is impossible to find, it has somehow been buried and erased from the remnants of history, where he comes on and he talks about how hard his life is. And then he comes on Oprah again to apologize because it's found out that he lied about a lot of the details in this memoir. It is not really a memoir so much as it is a alteration of reality. Some of the main things that stand out with this is his jail record in the book does not match up with the jail record in real life, which might be a bit of a better thing. He talks about I didn't get this far in the book, but he talks about a train crash where 2 girls died, and he includes himself in this train incident, and apparently that never happened either. Now, this is the controversy, because he pitches this book, and he sells millions of copies and makes millions of dollars off the idea that these are his real lived experiences that he's put out in the world because he just wants to help people, and he wants to add to the literary world. It's kind of based off of his merit, and when he's found out, everyone's kind of mad at him. James Frey, more like James Fraud, right? But here's the thing. In hindsight, I think you should separate the art from the artist and just look at this book like it is just a work of fiction. I will compare it to Catch Me If You Can, the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks. Leonardo is this based on real life character who's getting into a bunch of hijinks that involve him lying and conning his way through life. And it came out recently that a lot of that movie is completely fabricated. But if you're watching that movie, the actors are doing their job, it's well written, it's nicely paced. And so that is what I would like to do for this, is just to analyze it as a nice work of fiction. After analyzing it, this book sucks. It's awful. It reeks of the fact that this person comes from a screenwriting background, because we just had to go into the formatting of this book. Most of my grievances break down to how this dialogue is written. It reeks of somebody who came from a screenwriting background where all you have to do is have the person's name and then they say this. Next person's name, they say that. There is no descriptive qualities to how people are talking. They're not growling out their words. They're not snarling their words. They're not saying this compassionately. It's just dialogue with really no indication on how it's being said. Page 168. This is the dialogue. And you can pass this off, this is going to be my main killing point for this book. You can pass this off as creativity. To me, this screams lazy writer. We put quotation marks in a book for a reason, because it helps the reader understand, okay, this person is saying something and the thing is ending. This just creates an unending flow of prose, and you have to distinguish where the dialogue is starting and stopping. It reads really quickly, but it isn't descriptive enough for you to really settle into the literature. It just reads like someone flipping the pages and trying to get you through it as fast as possible. It looks like an incident report where the person is just, it's like, if you've ever worked in a workplace where you had to file out an incident report, you are not overjoyed to stay past your working hours to fill this thing out. You're just trying to get through it as fast as possible. He said this, "Help me, my knee hurts. I wrapped the bandage." And you can pass that off as style for a little bit, but not the entire book. Another thing that I would say about this is it's very emotional writing. It's a character screaming in emotional agony, going like, fuck, shit, fuck, my life, fuck, shit, fuck. That's okay for a chapter or two, but it just keeps going on. It's not enjoyable to read. It feels like somebody pouring their heart out, which you could say, oh, what a great memoir, except it's not based on reality. It's just a man throwing a tantrum. To go back to the quotation marks, if you're not going to have quotation marks, like why not throw out everything else? Like why do we have question marks? Why do we have periods? This man can just punch out a book within a week if he stopped using punctuation. Why are you putting spaces in between the words? Like James, why not just give me a book that's full of blank pages? You could press this out in a day. You could call it 1,000,000 empty pages, which ironically is pretty much what this book is because it feels like it. It feels empty. It feels like this book sucks because it does. So it does not make it off the block.